Hi there. My name is Terces and I want to take a moment and welcome you to the Unreasonably Grateful podcast. The subtitle is Living in Grace by Choice. And those of you who have been listening for a while have heard this welcome over and over again. However, some of you are brand new, and I want to let you know that I'm grateful that you're here. I'm honored that I have the opportunity to share stories from my journey of recovery from 20 years of living an addictive lifestyle and dealing with an eating disorder after sexual abuse as a teenage athlete, and now 38 years of recovery. Um, I don't have your answers. I always remind you of that, but I do believe you do. And sometimes there will be clues that will lead to us discovering our own answers when we hear someone else share tidbits from their journey, because really we're not all that different. And there's something that we can pick up a little bit more easily when it's somebody else sharing their experience than when we're looking at ourselves. And so that's my hope. That's why I do this. I do this because if just one person hears one thing and it eases their journey and helps them find pieces of their own personal puzzle that help them put their life back together, and they begin to discover more of who they really are, who they were created to be, and all the gifts and talents and skills and beauties that they possess, then it's well worth it. So, another reminder that on Tuesday mornings, I do offer individual time. It's a donation basis. It's an opportunity for an elder to sit with you and then to reflect back to you what I see and what I hear. And oftentimes, what I see or what I hear is a brighter, more optimistic, more encouraging version of perhaps the one that you have of yourself. Maybe you've gleaned it over your lifetime through experiences or other people's projections. And it's just time to kind of polish off that mirror and get and see who you really are. So if you're interested, you can sign up on tercesenglehart.com under the subtitle of Work Together. And I'd be happy to do that for you. Okay, so this particular episode is kind of part of a trilogy. For the last few weeks, I've been sharing with you things that have come up for me around this impending oral surgery that I just had. So it's been 5 days since I had it. And today I had my first post-op appointment. And I'm excited to share with you what my experience was. So leading up, I shared with you how I needed to learn to let go of attachments. There was a whole episode on, how oftentimes what we're attached to can keep us stuck in the past. For me, I was dealing with this full subperiosteal implant that I'd had 35 years ago, which was a huge stepping stone in my own recovery. However, it was no longer serving me. I was dealing with chronic infection, and I needed to have it removed. In the future, we weren't sure what that future would look like. Still, there's an unknown future. And then there was trusting the surgeon who I'd had kind of an abrupt first appointment with. And I recognized I needed to go back in there and I needed to do my part in developing and bridging a trustful relationship, which was another amazing experience. And he was very generous and very kind, and then actually apologized himself. And then there was dealing with the fear, the unknown, and just surrendering to the process. So 5 days ago, I had a very early morning surgical procedure. It was 2.5 hours under the most designer general anesthesia I even knew existed, from an amazing young anesthesiologist. The night before, I had had this dream that what I needed to do because I was still having these kind of trepidations about what if I don't come back? And when I talked to somebody who I live with here on the farm, much younger person, she said, maybe it's because you're closer to that side of the veil. And I was like, maybe, maybe I'm close enough that it's just tempting to cross over and stay there. But I was clear I wanted to come back. So my job that morning was to look him straight in the eyes and have him promise me he was going to bring me back, regardless of what the outcome of this surgery was. And he was very gracious and kind. Said, yes, I do. I promise you that. And he actually shared with me that lots of times people come in and they're just like, I want to have the wildest ride. And he said, really, what they should be saying is what you're saying, which is make sure I get back here. Anyway, I had that experience. And then the truth is, after I was breathing pure oxygen, I don't remember anything until I woke up. And I also talked in previous episodes about I do believe that on the other side of our challenges, those kind of healing opportunities, there is a victory and there's a silver lining. But we have to do the work and walk through that process, whatever that process might like for you. And so I woke up from the anesthesia to a completely unexpected experience. I don't know that I've ever felt that much unconditional love and gratitude at the same time. I felt weepy. I felt just so full of God's grace, so full of love and appreciation, surrounded by beauty, even though I was still laying in the middle of a surgical suite. It was unbelievable. The gratitude, the flow of this undeniable, warm, embracing light and energetic flow. Um, I'm still basking in it 5 days later. And yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was so grateful. And I had had some amazing surgical assistants. I'd gotten some great advice from family and friends. And so I came home. I had a very long lasting local anesthesia. So um, I was still numb. That was Thursday. That was still numb all day Friday. Saturday and Sunday were the toughest. I never had to take the narcotic pain medication I was given. And I had been doing arnica that had been recommended so I wouldn't bruise, and I didn't. I was told I would probably have 2 black eyes, and obviously I don't. And I still have a little bit of swelling, but not a lot. And I've slept well. I'm still on only liquids and very soft food, but it's been amazing how good I am at making gravy and smushy dishes. Anyway, what I want to talk about is that Friday I sat down to write a note of appreciation and just let my feelings come out. And I wrote a letter to the surgeon, the anesthesiologist, and then the referring dentist that I had gone to. And I just poured out this grace and love and gratitude that I was basking in. And something came up for me that got complete in my recovery. So this is 38 years later. And I saw that I'd been fighting my whole life. Now, that may not have been someone's external experience of me, but it was like I was a scrapper. I don't know if that's having dealt with kind of an interruption in my innocence at a young age, and then sort of fighting for my identity, my safety, my survival for every breath. And all of a sudden, I was in this place of the battle was over. And for me, the experience was the victory was God's. I was I was back connected to my source. Now, I hadn't seen this coming. I certainly didn't have any expectation of it, but there's definitely a piece of the puzzle that got something so complete for me that it actually has shifted or changed every single moment since. And it still is in little ways. I don't have to respond so quickly. I don't need to defend myself or justify anything. It's as if I see the world and people in a whole new way. I also recognize how most of us are fighting. We're fighting for something, fighting for, yeah, our existence, yeah, our life. And suddenly I just don't have the fight. There's so much more peace. I could forgive myself, the abusive people from my past. Um, yeah, I'm not sure I can exactly put it into words. Maybe next week I'll read you the letter that I wrote. But definitely, there's a silver lining when you walk into great fears and get things complete for yourself and let go of your attachments and build trust. I definitely feel like there is a loving God, a loving presence on my side. And I don't really need uh, the approval or, I guess it's the approval or the alignment of anything else. If it's there, great. If it's not, great. So I'm still in that silver lining. I'm committed to staying there. I notice the impact on just about every choice I make. And I would say this is the living in grace by choice that I subtitled the title of my book. Uh, and I hadn't felt it the way that I feel it right now. So, my coaching for you this week is whatever you're facing, because there's little steps along the way. And then I suspect there will also be big breakthroughs. And I think those big breakthroughs happen when we don't step over the little steps, when we continue to do the work to heal and become kinder, more loving, more compassionate, less fearful, less judgmental of ourselves and others. And if we continue to do all those little tasks, there will be these moments of big breakthroughs. And you too will get to exist and bask in the silver lining that's on the other side of whatever it is that you're currently walking through. And I am here cheering you on. And I'll see you next week.